No tea. Preparation and planning prevents poor performance. So no tea this week. I've just got... I have a feeling this is she who must be obeyed. She who must be paid. There we go. So yes, no tea this week. How very remiss of me. I am tealess. Got dog, I've got cat. The cat's got a... Yeah, but I've evicted her from her chair this week. But there you go. So life is good. Got a new camera. Got a red Komodo. Huge thing. I mean, it's only a small box, but it's lovely. Happy man. On my rig. Yep, it's all working fine. Red lights on, recording, great. Still trying to get used to it all. There's so much to learn, but there you go. How are you on this wonderful week? It's I'm recording this on Tuesday. It's cold and gonna rain. It's gonna rain like crazy tonight. I just looked at my lamp. Oh. And then I did it again. So yes, it is Tuesday. And it is murky McMurky. I'm tell you what, I've had to change the focal length because the new camera, different sense. Oh, anyway. So yes, it's a wonderful day. I'm feeling chipper, feeling good with the world, enjoying my new camera. Everything else is working well. So yeah, good things are happening. Had to go up to Bristol. I had to go to Bristol, mate. Yeah, I had to go to Bristol on Saturday to purchase said red Komodo. Can't afford a new one, but this one is a second-hand unit, 219 hours on the clock, and it is remarkable. It is so nice. It's like brand new. Really is a nice piece of kit. So, oh, that cat's doing it. Wait. So yes, drove up to Bristol, which is about 65 miles each way from Sidmouth, 68, something like that. Now, where I had to go was behind Bristol City ground. So you drive to Exeter and get on the M5 and there are so many arseholes on the road. Yes, there are. There are arseholes aplenty. So you're driving there and you're doing, I'm not in a hurry, you know, I'm sitting there at 68, something like that. In the inside lane as well, not hogging the outside lane. I'm well within my rights. No, I'm sitting on the inside lane doing 70 miles an hour, 68, 70, not going over, not in a hurry. And you get this straight past on the outside lane. It's like, okay, you're in a hurry. That's all right, I'm not. And then a little bit later on, you end up going past them because they've now gone flat out, and then they pull across and then you end up having to go around them. It's a bit senseless, really. Anyway, so yeah, drove up to, where was it? Drove up to Bristol, up the M5. I had to come off at Gordano, the old service station there. Yeah, so that was pretty decent. I had to go around the back and down by Clifton Suspension Bridge, and then into town. And it's like a rabbit warren. There's roads everywhere. Yeah, you have no, it's just, roads. Oh, never mind. Anyway, so I ended up going round the back of the football ground and then trying to find this little tiny street, and there's cars just everywhere. Eventually found him. Hi, I'm here, got the money. And he said, oh, fantastic. He sent me a message saying, oh, can you bring cash? Not on a Saturday. Yeah, can you just imagine walking to your bank? Hello, can I take some money out on a Saturday, please? No. So, yeah. So bought this red Komodo, which is absolutely wonderful. Stuck my lens on. It doesn't work properly. Certain things don't work with it. Like this aperture ring. It's not working 100%, but there you go. That's Luna. Yeah. I just had a nice walk. Gonna go unscripted for a second, off non-scripted. I do that. I don't script these things. So poor old Luna, she's I'm sliding down the chair. Poor old Luna's getting to 12 and a half. Now, coming up to 13, actually. So when she came in, she's lying on the floor. Poor little thing. We only did an hour's walk, maybe 4 miles, maybe just on that. But poor little thing, she's starting to suffer. All she wants to do is sit and eat. Of course, she's now got an upset stomach. Little dog left her on her own the other night and locked the cat in the kitchen, the dog in the living room. Just don't want to come home to a dead cat, you know. And sorry, cat's eating parts of its body here. And of course, the dog went upstairs and ate all the cat's food. Because now she's got an upset stomach because it's got wheat in it. Cat's food's got wheat, dog food can't have wheat. And so she's a bit, yeah, poor little thing. Poor little doggy. Yeah, anyway, so that's the issue. The dog's a bit squitty. When I say a bit, a lot. Never mind, never mind. So, yep, Luna's, we're going out for lots of walkies, but short ones now. Not doing too many things. Everything else is fine in the world. I hope everything's good with you. I mean, it's just a beautiful day. Except it's cold and it's wet. And it's going to rain like crazy tonight. Above the clouds, it's fantastic. I remember there's a couple of times, Flying Story coming on. In these unscripted moments, Flying Story. A couple of years ago, when I had my Bonanza, I had a V-tail Bonanza. And I come out of work and it was a lovely evening. And I said, you know, I think I'll go out for a quick spin. And Alex, my daughter at the time, we climbed in and did everything and then took off and headed up and then went above the clouds and just hung around because we had to be back for 8 o'clock because the aerodrome closed. But it was so beautiful up there. You know, when you go through the clouds and you're just sitting there on top of it, skimming the tops of the clouds. Beautiful. You know, you haven't got a care in the world. And it's just one of those things, it's just nice. Of course, then you've got to come back down again. Going into cloud, never mind. I've told you those stories before, so I'm not going to tell them again. But I've done quite a lot of flying, instrument rating. Went over to Poland and I went to a place called Rzeszów. I think that's what you call it, over on the eastern side by the Ukrainian border. And so there I am on an instrument flight plan. And one thing I found that the Poles don't like the Germans too much, which is understandable, and the Russians, but there you go. So I was flying along, I don't know, 10,000, 12,000 feet or so on this highway in the sky. So there I am at 8,000, 10,000 feet, whatever the procedure was. And I called Rzeszów Control and said, hey, give them a call sign. Inbound to you, have information, because Alpha, let's call it Alpha, they have an airdrome terminal forecast, ATIS, and it's an air traffic service. So you tune in, it's weather service, and they say, well, it's runway so-and-so, winds from here, this, that, and the other, expect this, that, and the other. And it's automated and it changes when they need to change it. So when you do initial contact, you say, you know, I have information delta, and QNH or my pressure setting is whatever 1025 for the sake of arguing. And they come back and say, yeah, we have you inbound, procedure Zulu. Okay, so the ILS procedure Zulu. So then you've got to go through all your charts and find this paper chart. Well, it's all iPads now, but when I was flying, paper chart. So you've got this chart with instrument Zulu on it, and it tells you to depart the beacon on this heading, descend to 2,000 feet, and then you do an inbound turn, pick up the localizer at 2,200, and then you descend. And that's it. So there I am inbound at 10,000 feet or so. So I said, have information Zulu, And he said, Roger, descend now. If you can descend with the procedure, you're at 10,000 feet and you have to come down to 2,000. That's quite a drop in a short space of time. So anyway, we're descending and going through all the pre-checks that you do when you're flying. You know, got this done and that done, and seats up and tables away and all the rest of it. So I'm now outbound from this beacon. So call up and say, beacon outbound. And they said, yep, fine, carry on with procedure, report, localizer established, which is you have this crosshair. So left and right, up and down, and you keep it in the middle. So if it's that way, you fly that way. And if it's up, you go up until you're down. Anyway, it's really clever. So there I am flying outbound, and there's something called DME, distance measuring equipment. So from this point, you can say, well, I'm 6 miles or so. And it was like 8.7 miles DME, you did the turn and you're descending all the time, and then you come inbound. So I got to my, I suppose about halfway through the turn, and I'm down to about 3,000 feet, still descending. And Lufthansa called up, hello Lufthansa, hello Rzeszów, this is Lufthansa so-and-so. He said, we're inbound to you, and the Poles go, no, you have to hold. I've got an aircraft, a Beach Bonanza in the pattern. And he says, but we are Lufthansa. He says, no, sir, you will hold. That means you have to go around in a big racetrack. So I said, look, I'm happy to let the commercial go in. I'll go back to the hold or whatever. He says, no, you have the procedure. You're coming in now. So fine. So I went out and come in, and I'm doing 140 knots or something like that. You know, this Lufthansa dash 10 or whatever it is, going round and round in circles now because I'm going too slow. So I've ended up called localizer established, then called on the glide slope, dropped the undercarriage, and I'm coming down this glide slope. And I can see the runway, but you have to do the procedure. And as I'm now, I don't know, probably about 3 miles out, the Lufthansa is now cleared to do the same procedure as I just done. So I land, and I'm taxiing back up the runway on the other side. And this Lufthansa, and I can see these two pilots looking out the window, giving me, because they had to burn more fuel. So the Poles don't like the Germans very much, but there you go. So parked up, saw the wife and saw my kids, and we said, yeah, okay. So the plan was, sorry, I'm moving my chair. The plan was the next couple of days to spend in Rzeszów, and then we would fly to Gdańsk, so it's up north. So if you imagine Poland being sort of a rectangle, Rzeszów is bottom right, and Gdańsk is middle centre, up the top end. So you've got to fly over Warsaw, and then you carry straight on. And you've got these lines on the map, and it's just highways in the sky. Tells you what to. So we had a couple of days in Rzeszów, and we said, right, I'm going to depart now. And I filed my flight plan with European control, because that's what you did. European control said, yep, you're cleared to leave on this time, this date. So I got to the airfield, put some petrol in, because we need that stuff, really nice stuff to go. Put the petrol in and called them up on the little handheld. Hello, this is me. Have airfield information, Foxtrot, ready for start. And they come back and say, you give you a call sign and say, yeah, start approved, call ready to taxi. So you start the engine and you go through all your checks and make sure your engine's the right temperature and stuff. And it's okay, it's all well documented. You've got checklists for everything. So I'm going through the checklists. And of course, this time I've got Renata, my wife at the time, sitting next to me, and Alex in the back, and there's clothes everywhere. So we're pretty much on the upper limits of the weight and balance. Full tank, so 440 litres of fuel, plus us three and luggage and all the rest of it. So, we're pretty full. It was a light aircraft, well, not say light, but aircraft, you have to do weight and balance for everything. You know that the aircraft weighs this much, and you can only take off with 3,600 pounds, and it's the way it goes, really. You don't want to be too heavy, you'll fall out of the air. So there I was. Am I still recording? Just a second. Yeah. Gets to the air and he says, 6-7, ready to go. And he says, fine, here's your clearance. So he gives me, it starts repeating the clearance. And he said, you must be at this intersection by 13,000, flight level 130. And he says, you must be at that. If you cannot be at that level, then we have to route you somewhere else. So I said, yeah, I can do that. And I looked at the map and said, well, it's going to be tight. So can I do 6 miles on the runway before I turn and then climb, or as I climb out? And he goes, yeah, you can do that. So taxi to the runway, did all my final checks, put the throttle in, went down the runway, took off, and I'm heading down the runway. So let's say the runway's at 090. So I'm now flying 090, climbing all the time, and I'm up to about 5,000 feet. And then we start turning, and we're now getting up to 8, 9, 10,000 feet. And when there's not as much air up there than there is, so you lean the engine and you've got performance and things. And anyway, you're now, instead of climbing at 500 feet a minute, you're climbing at 200 feet a minute, but we're still going up. And we finally get to this intersection where you have 2 lanes in the air at 13,000 feet. So I level off at 13,000 feet, turn on to this new heading and call up the old Zhezhov control and say, look, I'm at flight level 130 and then give them the 5-letter code, whatever it was. And he says, right, you're cleared to Gdansk, have a nice day, contact Warsaw approach. I said, just for the sake of it, why did I have to be at this level? He says, oh, we've got a live bombing run going on underneath you. So, that would make a lot of sense. Yeah, you don't want to be a bit lower down because they have these L-39s, whatever it is, coming screaming in. Because what they would do is they fly along at 12,000 feet and then they drop down, bomb them out of the range and then climb back up again. So they wanted you at this height. So they're coming in underneath you. So yeah, that was a bit squeaky. And 2 hours from southern Poland to the north of Poland. It was just great. And coming into Gdansk, that was a bit hairy as well. Because there's just so much commercial traffic all flying in and out of Gdansk. And there's me with my Beach Bonanza V-tail. Sorry, I just... so we're flying in and there's ice on the wings and there's all sorts of issues. Because down south it was really warm, up there it's not. So we're coming down through the clouds, ice building up, and then it's starting to disappear. And there's, they give you directions on where to fly, and all of a sudden you come out of the cloud and there's a runway right in front of you, which is nice. You don't want to come out of the cloud and there's no runway. It's over. Go up again. So yeah, that's what we did, and spent a couple of days in Gdansk. Renata's auntie would only drive in 2nd gear. So she wouldn't change gear. So the engine's thrashing its balls off. She said, but we're going fast enough. I said, well, you can go into another gear. Oh, no, I don't want to go too fast. So we're doing 30, 40 miles an hour. The engine's in 2nd, or the gearbox is in 2nd, absolutely flat out. This car's falling to bits, smoke everywhere, because she was too scared and she never went up of 2nd gear. Anyway, flying out of Gdansk was all right. It was, you just, right, you ready to depart? Yeah, off you go. Heading towards Mönchengladbach, off you go. Coming into Mönchengladbach was a bit of a pain. There was these towering cumulus clouds everywhere. I'll tell you another day. Anyway, so I enjoyed my flying. I enjoyed my instrument rating. Got it out in Florida. That was interesting enough. Maybe I'll tell you that one another day. Anyway, so the cat's still chewing on its butt. The dog's asleep. And that's about it, really. Everything is good here. Enjoying this new camera. Got to be honest with you. It is a cracker of a camera. And it's autofocus, got the RF lens and everything. It's all wired up through my Rode microphone. I bet it's going to be too loud and I'll have to, I hate that. This is the first time I've done any sound recording with it. Got me little mic here. Maybe you can see it, a little mic. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, it looks like it's all right. It's not going into the into the yellow, so it should be all right. Massive battery on the back. I was going to go and get some shots of Sidmouth today, but it's really murky out there. And I showed you last week when the clouds were down, and nothing's really changed. You really like a nice little day. So I shall say goodbye, and I'll speak to you again soon. This is Bob Unscripted. Okay, nothing is scripted. Now you see these people with their auto cues. And yes, and we went to the thing, and yes, and we did this, and then we did that, and then this happened. Fuck that. Anyway, so just unscripted, Bob Unscripted, and I'll see you soon. Hopefully next week the tea maiden will have made some tea. Well, that's me actually, but I forgot to make it. I just thought I'd play with this. So I'm going to grab. See, the nice thing is, I don't know if you can see this. I've got this red control app on my iPad. So it's a bit of a weird one. See, so you can see me. There you are in the middle there, just on the other side there. And there's all the various bits and pieces, and I can control it. And I can push this button, and it will say stop recording, and it's done 22 minutes. So until next time, have a nice day.